it's quite interesting because actually it's not actually a restoration project because we really don't know, what it used to be, right? I mean, that's part of the interesting thing about it, right? So we're really trying to figure out, okay, there are invasives, we need to get rid of those, okay? But to think about, when you think about restoration, you're going back to some original state. Well, that woods has been in a farm in the 19th century, and then it became a campus, and so it's hard to know what would be the original state because the Indians, were there too before that. So these are euonymus. It's a winter creeper. It's a beautiful ground cover. It just takes over and kills everything underneath it, and it's really hard to get rid of. I think now as people understand the meaning of sustainability, it's not just like this surface green. Golf courses are green. They're ecological deserts. There's 2 or 3 species in it. They use a lot of herbicides and pesticides and fertilizers and stuff like that. What we're trying to do is say, okay, let's think about how we're managing that forest, even if we're leaving it alone. But if you leave it alone, the invasives, which are more aggressive and adapted to crowd out other species, they'll take over. And then you get a very degraded woods because it doesn't have all the different species. It doesn't have the ecological complexity that it was 100 years ago.
We have to know more than just the ecology. We really have to know how the place came to be. What was the land use history? And this is why we have brought in history and philosophy of science expertise in Jim Capshew and other land use expertise in Anita Bracalante from fine arts. Already they are discovering things about the trajectory of the place. That initially it seems that it was a pasture, maybe for pigs and for cows. It was a lawn with scattered trees. So it didn't start out as an undisturbed forest.
We don't have a complete record of photographs from day one of the campus, but there's enough that show that there's a huge difference because by 1920 the first aerial photograph of the campus showed a very dense woods, and so in 30 years or so it grew up and multiplied and it became similar to what it is now. This is a unique part of this campus. It was the campus. Of course, now people don't know that. People don't even know what it's called. If you go around and say, what do you think about Dunn Woods? It's not known as a place that Sample Gates or the Art Museum or the Auditorium or Assembly Hall. It doesn't have that kind of signature identity, really. Invasives really do change the ecology, and maybe it's not a great thing. I would love to have some flowers in there, and I think most people would.
Like, how many times a day do you walk through Dunn Woods?
Once, 3 or 4 times a day.
3 or 4 times a day? Yeah. How do you feel about the atmosphere right now? Do you like it, or do you think it's kind of like overgrown, or?
Definitely overgrown.
Okay. How do you feel about trying to take out the invasive plants? Do you think that's
that'd be a good idea, actually.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, that's good.
Okay, go.
All right, so first of all, just how do you feel about just the atmosphere of Dunn Woods?
Honestly, it's awesome. I like riding through it, especially at night. I don't know, and I kind of get annoyed just especially with the bike because all the stuff comes on the path, and I've almost slipped a couple times when it's wet.
So how do you guys feel about a project getting rid of this and trying to get the native flowers to grow again?
Sounds nice. Yeah, I'd be fine with it.
Okay. All right, well, that's good enough.